Everything begins with a thought. What you hold in your mind, you will hold in your hand. Take a moment and look around you. The phone in your pocket, the clothes on your back, the chair you're sitting in. None of these things existed until someone first thought of them. Every building started as a blueprint in someone's imagination. Every invention, from the wheel to the internet, began as a silent idea in someone's head. That's not philosophy, that's reality. Thoughts are not harmless. They are seeds. Each thought is a signal, a frequency. And like attracts like, you don't attract what you say. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you think about constantly and believe to be true. If you walk around thinking the world is unfair, guess what? You'll start noticing all the reasons why it is. You'll see missed opportunities, people taking advantage of others, reasons to be cynical. But if you walk around believing that life is working in your favor, even when it's tough, you'll start noticing moments of growth, unexpected blessings, and silver linings. A man who believes he is destined to fail will sabotage his own success, not because life is against him, but because his thoughts are. The mind is a magnet. The mind has a strange way of pulling in exactly what it focuses on, good or bad. Think about when you buy a new car. Suddenly you start seeing that same make and model everywhere. Did the number of those cars increase overnight? Of course not. Your awareness shifted. The same thing happens with your goals and beliefs. The moment you fix your mind on something, you begin to see opportunities, ideas, and connections that were always there. You just couldn't see them before. That's the mind working as a magnet, not a mirror. It doesn't reflect reality, it creates it. You're always attracting, whether you mean to or not. The law of attraction isn't something you turn on or off, it's always working. The question isn't if it's working, it's what it's attracting based on your dominant thoughts. A person who constantly thinks, "I'm not good enough," will act in ways that confirm that belief. They'll avoid opportunities. They won't speak up. They'll hesitate, withdraw, self-sabotage. And then when things don't go their way, they'll say, "See, I knew it." It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, not because they weren't capable, but because their thoughts steered the ship. Your outer world will always reflect your inner world. Scientific support, this is not just metaphysical talk. Let's ground this in science. Dr. Joe Dispenza, a leading neuroscientist, explains how repeated thoughts actually rewire the brain. If you keep thinking the same thought over and over, the brain builds new pathways to support that thought. It becomes easier to think, feel, and act that way. Positive thoughts create dopamine, serotonin, chemicals that make you feel confident, focused, energized. Negative thoughts produce cortisol, the stress hormone, which can cloud your judgment, drain your energy, and shut down creativity. It's not just mindset, it's biology. The thoughts you think affect your hormones, your decisions, your habits, and ultimately your results. Your life is a printout of your beliefs. Imagine your life as a sheet of paper being printed out. The thoughts are the text you type on the screen. The printer doesn't question it, it just prints what it's told. So if your life is full of stress, scarcity, confusion, it's not the printer that's broken, it's the input. Change your thoughts, and you change the output. You want to change your income? Start changing your internal script about money. Stop saying "I'm broke." Stop saying money's hard to make. Start believing that you provide value, that you're a solution to someone's problem, that abundance is your birthright. Your life can't go in a direction your mind hasn't already gone. Real-world example, from thoughts to reality. Let me tell you about a man I knew, an immigrant who came to this country with $80 in his pocket. He barely spoke the language, worked as a dishwasher, but every night after his shift, he'd go home and write out his goals. He imagined himself owning a business, leading a team, helping people. He had every reason to feel defeated, to give up, to face reality, but he refused. He trained his mind to believe he was capable. He studied, saved, planned, visualized. 5 years later, he opened a small restaurant. 10 years later, he owned 3. Now, he's mentoring young entrepreneurs who remind him of who he used to be. The difference wasn't just hustle. Hustle matters, but what mattered more was what was happening in his mind. Before the business existed, he saw it in his thoughts. He didn't wait to believe in himself until after he succeeded. He believed. and then succeeded. Thoughts shape identity. Who you think you are determines what you will allow yourself to do. If you think of yourself as shy, you won't take the mic. If you think of yourself as unlucky, you won't enter the race. If you think of yourself as broke, you won't see the chance to grow. Identity isn't fixed, it's built. And it starts with the thoughts you repeat. Affirmations, visualization, journaling. These aren't just cute habits, they are weapons. They are tools for reshaping your inner narrative. You don't rise to the level of your dreams, you rise to the level of your belief in those dreams. A thought with no feeling is a whisper. A thought infused with emotion becomes a roar. Thoughts are the blueprint, but emotion is the engine. Without emotion, a thought is just an empty shell. It has form but no force. Power comes when thought is felt, deeply, consistently, and honestly. Emotion is what tells your subconscious, this matters, pay attention. You can repeat affirmations all day long. I'm abundant, I'm successful, I'm loved. But if you're saying the words while feeling afraid, doubtful, or unworthy, your emotional state will win every time. Because the universe doesn't respond to what you say, it responds to what you feel. Your emotional state is a frequency. Everything in life carries energy. Your thoughts have energy, your body has energy, and your emotions broadcast that energy. Think of emotions like a tuning fork. When you feel joy, confidence, gratitude, you're tuning yourself to a higher frequency. At that level, you start attracting people, experiences, and opportunities that match those emotions. When you feel fear, jealousy, anxiety, you're tuning yourself to a lower frequency, and you'll pull in more things that match that too. The emotion is what creates the attraction, not just the desire. If you say, I want a better life, but you constantly feel frustrated, overwhelmed, or bitter, then you're not aligned. You're sending a mixed signal. That's like asking for sunshine while planting seeds in the dark. Emotion creates believability. The subconscious mind doesn't accept things based on logic. It accepts what you feel to be true. If you say I'm successful, but deep down you feel like a failure, the subconscious mind hears, I don't believe that. The stronger the emotion behind the thought, the faster it's accepted into the subconscious. The faster it's accepted, the quicker it becomes your dominant belief. And what you believe dictates how you act, speak, and carry yourself. Someone who feels confident will speak differently. They walk differently. They take risks. They trust their instincts. Someone who feels fear will hesitate, overthink, hold back. Not because they can't succeed, but because their emotions won't allow them to take the step. Emotion builds conviction. Conviction changes behavior. Behavior changes results. Visualization is more than imagination. It's rehearsal with feeling. Olympic athletes use visualization to train their bodies. But they don't just see themselves winning, they feel it. They imagine the crowd, the sound of their name, the rush of adrenaline. They immerse themselves emotionally in the victory before it happens. That's not just preparation, that's attraction. When you can feel the success before you have it, you become a magnet for it. You start acting like someone who deserves it. You develop certainty, and certainty draws results. The mind doesn't distinguish between real and vividly imagined experiences. If you can get emotionally involved in your vision, your brain starts building pathways to support it. Your heart starts drawing it in. Your actions start aligning with it. Fear is also a powerful magnet. If you feed it, the law of attraction doesn't judge. It doesn't say, oh, that's a positive emotion, so I'll give you good things. No, it simply responds to intensity. If you feel deep fear that you'll lose your job, be rejected, or fail, those thoughts don't stay locked in your head. They turn into tension, sleepless nights, missed chances. And that energy begins pulling in exactly what you're afraid of. Not because fear is punishment, but because what you focus on emotionally begins to show up. The key isn't to deny fear, it's to redirect it. Turn anxiety into anticipation. Turn nervousness into excitement. Learn how to channel emotion into creation, not destruction. Gratitude. The emotion that unlocks more gratitude might be the single most powerful emotional state you can live in. Not because it's nice, but because it tells the universe, I recognize the good and I'm ready for more. A grateful heart is magnetic. It turns a little into a lot. When you're emotionally anchored in gratitude, even before your desire shows up, you're telling your subconscious, this is already mine. I believe it. I receive it. You start treating the future as if it's already happened. You stop chasing and start attracting. You stop begging and start preparing. Write it down, speak it out loud, celebrate things that haven't even arrived yet. When you emotionally embody the life you want to live, you begin to pull it into your reality. Emotion fuels action. Motivation isn't found in logic, it's found in emotion. People don't make life-changing decisions because it makes sense. They do it because something stirs inside of them. A moment of inspiration, a surge of belief, a vision that won't let go. You don't build a business just because the numbers add up. You build it because you feel a fire inside. You don't fall in love because someone checks the right boxes. You fall because you feel something real, and that same principle applies when you're trying to create a new reality. If you want change, you need to feel the reason for it. That emotion becomes fuel. Memory and emotion are tied, so rewrite the story. The reason most people stay stuck isn't because they don't know what they want, it's because they've emotionally attached themselves to old stories. Painful memories, past failures, rejection, those emotions are stored in the body. And when you try to move forward, those emotional memories pull you back. But here's the truth, you can rewrite the story. You can remember the failure, but now feel gratitude for what it taught you. You can recall the rejection, but now feel empowered because it redirected you. Emotion doesn't just attach to the past, it shapes your future. Choose carefully. You can't hit a target you can't see. You can't manifest a life you haven't defined. Desire without direction creates confusion. People often say they want more success, more love, more freedom, but they haven't taken the time to define what more actually looks like. They want to feel better, but they can't explain what better feels like. They want a different life, but they haven't painted the picture in their minds of what that life includes. When your vision is vague, your energy is scattered, your thoughts bounce from one hope to another, your actions lose focus, and the law of attraction has no signal strong enough to respond to. The moment you get clear, crystal clear, your world begins to shift. Clarity sends a message. It declares, this is what I want, this is what I expect, this is where I'm going. The brain needs a target. Your mind is like a GPS system, it doesn't move without a destination. If you just type "take me somewhere nice," your GPS will blink back in confusion. The system doesn't process vague, it needs coordinates. So does your life. When you say "I want success," that could mean 1,000 different things. A promotion, passive income, being debt-free, retiring at 40. If you don't define it, you'll chase shadows. You'll be busy but never fulfilled. You'll work hard but never feel aligned. Clarity gives you internal direction. You stop asking everyone for advice. You stop jumping from one idea to the next. You stop feeling lost. When your destination is clear, your energy becomes focused, and focused energy is magnetic. The universe responds to specificity. The law of attraction doesn't operate on general intentions. It listens for detail, precision, and emotional commitment. Saying "I want more money" is not a commitment, it's a wish. If you find $10 on the street, technically, the universe delivered. But when you say "I want to earn $100,000 per year doing work I love, from home, with time to travel and spend with my family," that's a clear message. That tells your mind what to look for. That tells the universe what to deliver. A clear vision draws in the right people, the right timing, the right opportunities. Specificity builds belief. It helps you see the outcome before it arrives. And what you can see, you can attract. Clarity builds emotional connection. The more detailed your vision, the easier it is to feel. And the more you feel it, the faster you attract it. A vague goal like "I want to be happier" doesn't spark emotion. But imagine this, you wake up in a sunlit room with ocean air coming through the window. You stretch, grab a journal, and sip coffee on the balcony. You're working remotely, helping clients you believe in. There's music playing, and the people around you bring you joy. You have peace, you have purpose. That image creates emotion, and emotion fuels attraction. When you build a vision so vivid that it excites you, moves you, and pulls you forward, you stop procrastinating. You stop second guessing, you start behaving like the person who lives that life. Lack of clarity leads to self-sabotage. When you're unclear, doubt creeps in. You question every decision. You hesitate, you attract confusion, distraction, and overwhelm. People don't fail because they aren't talented. They fail because they never got clear on what winning looks like for them. It's like building a house with no blueprint. You have bricks, tools, and workers, but no design. So every wall is in the wrong place. The structure doesn't hold. Eventually you walk away, not because you couldn't build it, but because you didn't know what you were building. Clarity gives structure to your dreams. It takes your energy and puts it to work with purpose. Vision boards, journals, and mental rehearsal work. Here's why: putting your goals into visible form forces your mind to confront them regularly. That mental exposure programs your subconscious. Athletes do this all the time. Before the race, they don't just train physically, they mentally rehearse crossing the finish line. They know the route, the pace, the sound of the crowd. They live the win before it happens. The same principle applies to your life. Write your goals. Speak them out loud. Make a vision board. Describe your ideal day. The more you define the outcome, the more your brain filters out distractions that don't match your direction. It's not superstition, it's neuroscience. The reticular activating system in your brain starts scanning for anything that matches your focus. You want opportunities? Get clear, and your brain will help you find them. People respond to your clarity. When you're clear, people feel it. They trust you more. They follow your lead. They open doors for you. Confidence doesn't just come from talent, it comes from direction. Imagine meeting two people. One says, "I'm trying to figure things out, maybe something in business, or maybe something creative." The other says, "I help small businesses grow through content strategy. I'm building a digital agency that allows me to work globally." Who do you trust more? Who would you recommend? Who do you want to collaborate with? Clarity makes you believable. It attracts resources, mentors, clients, and allies. The world doesn't respond to confusion, it responds to conviction. Clarity is the beginning of control. You may not control every outcome, but you can control the vision you aim for. When you define the life you want to live, you start to separate what belongs from what doesn't. You stop settling for jobs, people, and patterns that don't align with your values. You stop drifting. You start choosing. You start creating. Clarity isn't a one-time act, it's a discipline. It means checking in with yourself regularly and asking, does this align with the life I want to build? The more you practice clarity, the more powerful you become. The law of attraction responds to movement. Intention begins it, emotion energizes it, but action completes it. Wishing is not working. Hoping is not doing. Visualization and belief are critical. They set the stage, but nothing manifests without movement. Action is the bridge between thought and reality. Without it, the law of attraction becomes a theory instead of a tool. You cannot sit on the couch and meditate your way into a new life without lifting a finger. You cannot ask the universe for a miracle and ignore the door when it knocks. Attraction is not passive. It is fueled by participation. Inspired action is different from busy work. There's a difference between hustle and harmony. Inspired action doesn't mean doing more. It means doing what aligns. It's the kind of action that comes with clarity. The phone call you suddenly feel pulled to make. The email you feel nudged to send. The book you're drawn to read. The course that keeps showing up in your feed. The job listing that just feels right. Those nudges aren't random. They are answers. But answers don't mean anything unless you respond. People wait for perfect timing, for signs, for guarantees. But the universe doesn't wait. It flows. And when you feel the pull to act, it's your invitation to join that flow. Most people miss this because they want certainty before they move. But movement creates certainty. Clarity sharpens with motion. Progress begins where hesitation ends. You must act as if it's already yours. When you take action from a place of belief, the world begins to respond to you differently. Act like someone who has already received the thing you're asking for. Carry yourself with the energy of someone who knows the outcome is inevitable. Not because you're faking it, but because you've already seen it in your mind, and now you're just walking the path toward it. You want to become financially free? Start managing your current income like someone who respects wealth. Study money, save, invest. Stop waiting for more before you act like you're worthy of more. You want to be in a healthy relationship? Start loving yourself in the way you want to be loved. Set boundaries. Walk in self-respect. Speak like someone who knows their worth. Taking action is proof to the universe and to yourself that you're serious. That you're not just wishing, you're preparing. Every small step sends a loud signal. People underestimate the power of small actions. They want breakthroughs, quantum leaps, life-changing moments. But the universe often works through the mundane, the consistent, the patient, the small email, the 5 minutes of journaling, the one workout, the daily gratitude list. These aren't just routines, they're votes for the life you say you want. Each small act says, I'm ready. Each step plants a seed. When a farmer plants a crop, he doesn't dig it up the next morning asking why it hasn't sprouted. He waters it, tends to it, trusts the process. The same principle applies to action under the law of attraction. The result may not show up the day after your first effort, but that doesn't mean it isn't working. The universe tests persistence. It checks for alignment. It watches for consistency. Resistance is a sign, not a stop sign. The moment you start acting on a dream, resistance shows up. Doubt creeps in. You question your timing, your talent, your chances. That doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. It means you're on a real one. Growth always meets friction. Resistance is a natural response when you start stepping into unfamiliar territory. Don't take it as a warning. Take it as a reminder that you're moving beyond who you used to be. Action despite resistance builds resilience. The more you act in faith, especially when it's uncomfortable, the stronger your belief becomes. And the stronger your belief, the faster your reality catches up. The universe honors momentum, not perfection. Perfection is the enemy of progress. So many people wait to have the perfect plan, the perfect pitch, the perfect time. But clarity comes from doing, and speed matters. When you wait, momentum dies. When you move, momentum builds. You don't need a 10-step plan before you take the first step. You just need the first step. That phone call, that research, that post, that walk into the gym, that journal entry, that resume sent out. Once you're in motion, resources begin to appear. People cross your path, ideas flood in. You don't need to have it all figured out. Just keep moving in the direction of your desire. Action creates confidence. Confidence isn't built in silence, it's built in sweat. When you act on your vision, you prove to yourself that you're capable, that you can trust yourself, that you're the kind of person who follows through. And confidence is magnetic. When you're in motion, people feel your energy. You start attracting opportunities, partnerships, and breakthroughs, not because you're lucky, but because you're available for them. You weren't hiding, you were showing up. You weren't stuck in your head, you were out in the field, playing the game. Real-life proof, movement unlocks miracles. There was a man who wanted to become a speaker. He had the passion, the vision, the story, but he waited. He thought he needed more certifications, more followers, a better website. One day, tired of waiting, he offered to speak for free at a small community center. 12 people showed up. One of them ran a corporate event. That led to a paid talk. That talk led to a TEDx opportunity. That TEDx went viral. What changed his life wasn't a grand moment. It was a small action taken with big faith. The staircase didn't appear until he took the first step. That's how the law of attraction responds. Not to ideas, but to execution. Gratitude is not a reaction to abundance. It's the generator of it. Gratitude is often seen as a feel-good emotion, something polite people practice before meals, or when something goes their way. But it's far more than that. Gratitude is not just a response to what you receive, it's a signal to the universe that says, I'm ready for more. When you express genuine gratitude, you shift your energy. You raise your emotional vibration. You tune your inner frequency to abundance instead of lack, to presence instead of anxiety, to love instead of fear. And the law of attraction doesn't just respond to what you want, it responds to what you are. When you live in gratitude, you become magnetic to more of what you're thankful for. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to what's working. The mind is trained to spot problems. That's its survival mechanism. It looks for what's broken, what's missing, what might go wrong. Left untrained, it will always focus on lack. Gratitude interrupts that cycle. It says, yes, I may not have everything I want right now, but look at what I do have. You may not be in your dream house yet, but you have a roof, a bed, warmth. You may not be earning 6 figures, but you've got meals, Wi-Fi, and a chance to improve. You may not have met your soulmate, but you've got people who care, and time to grow into the person you'll be when love finds you. This isn't about pretending everything's perfect, it's about refusing to overlook the blessings already in your life. Because what you appreciate, appreciates. What you focus on, expands. Gratitude amplifies emotion, and emotion attracts faster. When you feel gratitude, you generate a powerful emotional state, joy, appreciation, contentment. Those emotions raise your vibration, and high vibration attracts high-quality outcomes. Want to bring your vision closer? Start feeling thankful for it before it shows up. Feel grateful as if it's already real. That's not delusion, it's alignment. Your subconscious begins to accept that reality as truth. Your behavior starts to reflect someone who already believes. And the universe responds to that belief. A study at the University of California showed that people who wrote down things they were grateful for every day not only felt happier, but were physically healthier and more productive. They exercised more, slept better, made better decisions. That's not magic, that's a shift in state. And your state determines your success. Gratitude is the language of receiving. Most people block their blessings not because they don't want more, but because they're too focused on what's missing. They complain, they compare, they criticize. That energy repels opportunity. Gratitude, on the other hand, is the language of receptivity. It says, I recognize what I have, I value it, I welcome more. When someone gives you a gift, and you light up with appreciation, what happens? They want to give you more. They feel seen. They feel good about giving. The same happens with life. When you respond to life with thankfulness, life finds ways to keep blessing you. Gratitude changes the story you tell yourself. Your inner dialogue creates your identity, and your identity shapes what you allow yourself to receive. Gratitude rewrites the script. It changes, why is this happening to me? Into what is this teaching me? It transforms I don't have enough, into I'm already blessed. It evolves, I'm falling behind, into I'm growing every day. When your internal narrative is rooted in appreciation, your outer world begins to mirror that mindset. You carry yourself with more peace, more grace, more expectancy. You stop chasing and start receiving. Daily gratitude is a practice, not a personality trait. No one is born naturally grateful. Gratitude isn't reserved for the positive thinkers. It's a practice, a discipline, a choice you make every single day. Start simple. Write down 3 things every morning that you're thankful for. Not generic stuff. Make it real. The laugh you had with your friend. The hot shower. The fact that your car started. Feel it. Then go a step further. Be grateful in advance for things that haven't happened yet. Thank life for the house you're building, the health you're improving, the opportunity that's coming. You begin to train your brain to expect good things, and the more you expect them not from entitlement, but from belief, the faster they arrive. Gratitude heals and rebuilds. Even in the hardest seasons, there's something to be grateful for. Sometimes it's not what happened, it's what didn't. The accident you avoided, the breakup that saved you from the wrong future, the delay that protected your destiny. Painful seasons hurt, but they can still serve. Gratitude lets you extract meaning from the mess. It helps you heal by shifting focus from loss to lesson. You don't have to be thankful for everything, but you can be thankful in everything. That's the power of gratitude. It helps you see the gift while you're still carrying the weight. You were never meant to drift through life. hoping for a better break, a lucky chance, or a miracle that drops out of the sky. You were designed to create, to imagine, to believe, and then to act. The law of attraction is not just about thoughts, it's about who you become. It's about aligning your thoughts, your emotions, your clarity, your actions, and your gratitude into one unified message to the universe. I know who I am, I know what I want, and I am ready, because your life right now, your relationships, your finances, your peace, or your chaos, is not just coincidence. It is a mirror of your inner world, and if you don't like what you see, you have the power to change the reflection. The most successful, fulfilled, joyful people you admire, they aren't different from you. They aren't more they just understood something. The moment you stop waiting for life to change, and you decide to change how you think, how you feel, and how you move, life bends to match your energy. So here's the truth. You're not chasing the dream. The dream is waiting on you. Right now, there is a version of your life that is more beautiful than anything you've known. More peace, more purpose, more freedom. But it doesn't arrive by accident. It arrives by alignment. So wake up with intention, speak with clarity, feel with passion, move with courage, and thank life for what is, and for what's on its way. Because the law of attraction is listening, and it responds, not to who you were, not to who you pretend to be, but to who you decide to become.